You know, there's been a sort of topic, if you will. There's been a debate, an issue that has been thrown out in the world for many, many years. And what this whole idea is that people have been wondering, how is there life on Earth? How did life originate? Where did it all come from? And basically what the debate come down to is religion versus science. Creation versus evolution. There have been court cases fought over the teaching of evolution. There have been many court cases in history that, have to deal with this whole controversy of evolution versus creation. And today I'm going to give my 2 cents about this, give you guys some both background of each idea and what I think about the whole issue. So let's start off with creation, because that's the oldest idea. That's the one pretty much most accepted in today's world. And basically what it says in the Bible is that before there was no universe, it was just all empty space, all darkness. And God saw this, and he said, this ain't happening. So, basically in the span of a week, he made everything. He made all the plants, the animals, the earth, the sun, the planets. He made us. He made everything, and everything was perfect. Everything was not changing. And this was the accepted idea for years, and still is today. Many people still definitely strongly agree with this whole belief that God had created everything. And then, years later, a man comes along by the name of Charles Darwin, and he goes on some expeditions to the Galapagos Islands, and he notices something. From island to island, there's variation amongst different species. For example, there are giant tortoises. On different islands, their shells are different shaped. Some of them have a dome-shaped shell. Others have a shell that's sort of pulled back on the front. Others have a different shaped shell. And also, their shells are different colors. And also, different finches on different islands had different shaped beaks, had different sizes. Iguanas, the iguanas that lived closer to the shore, the beaches areas. If you guys don't know the Galapagos Islands, the beaches have these very dark rock that covers the whole beach area. And the water iguanas were covered in these dark scales that would help them blend in with the rock. While, on the other hand, there were land iguanas that basically were much larger than the sea iguanas and also had yellow bright scales. And Darwin saw these different species and he thought, well, if God made everything and that everything was perfect and never changing, why would God take the time to make every single one of these different species? Why would he do that? It doesn't make any sense. And so he started gathering samples of these different organisms, and he went back to England, where he was from, and he came up with a revolutionary idea. And he published this idea in a book called Origin of the Species. Now, I don't really recommend any of you guys to go out and read it, because it's, 1, extremely long, and 2, it's basically summed up by this. Species will change over time by genetic mutations, by genetic variation, to best suit their environment. Have you guys ever heard of survival of the fittest? That's evolution. Basically, species will change to fit its environment. For example, I forgot the specific name, but there's a type of mouse that lives in the desert. And in this desert, there's like this ancient volcano valley that created this like giant ridge of dark rock. And the mice that lived in the normal desert have very light colored fur. Just it helps them blend in with the sand around them, so that owls and snakes and foxes and other predators can't get to them, because they're very small animals. They have no other defenses besides this camouflage. And so, basically what had developed, the mice that lived on the darker rock had to have, camouflage, or else then they would be killed off. And so what happened is these mice developed a gene that would code for darker fur, so that these mice that had the darker fur were able to survive on this darker rock, while the mice that still had the lighter fur would be easily spotted by predators and were just taken out. And this process of when an animal has a trait, a gene in its DNA that can help it survive in its environment, that is called natural selection. And that's the whole basis of Darwin's idea, that nature basically selects organisms that are best suited to survive in an environment. Those organisms will basically reproduce, pass on genes, and that's how change occurs. That's how variation is basically spread amongst organisms. And now, this is revolutionary stuff. I mean, for years, everyone had agreed with the Bible. The Bible was right. There's nothing else. God is perfect. The universe is perfect. But years earlier, a man by the name of Galileo basically had proved the church wrong. What the church had believed before was that the earth was the center of the universe, the sun, everything revolved around the earth was perfect, and that the universe was never changing. Well, Galileo, when he developed the first telescope, basically proved that Earth was not the center of the universe, that the sun was the center of our solar system, and that we're not the only things out here. We are just one, solar system in a group of billions of stars in a galaxy, amongst other billions of galaxies in the universe. So, you gotta think, if the church was wrong about the placement of the earth and the universe and things of this nature, what else was it wrong about? There'll probably be part 2 of this coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for a further discussion of this.